Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Ingo Prosper, and in today's video I'm going to show you guys how to develop an edge as a forex trader. Now when it comes to developing an edge in the forex market, I've seen a lot of traders who think it's all about having a high win rate strategy. But the truth is it's actually far from that. Now let's define an edge. What's an edge? An edge is having a strategic advantage that increases someone's chance of being profitable in anything. So now bringing it over to forex trading is actually you having a strategic advantage that increases your chance of consistent profitability in the market. Now that's an edge. And in developing an edge, there is actually two ways we can do that, and I'm going to show you guys right about now. Now, the first one is actually you having a systematic approach. I believe that most of us watching this video have kind of experienced the market in some way. I'm talking about technically. You have had some experience. It don't need to be much. You know one or two about technicals and maybe trend line, technical tools and all of those stuff. If you don't, you need to just go browse, you get something. But then I believe you guys should have known about support resistance, demand supply, trend line break, and whatever it is. So what you want to do at this point now is to go ahead and pick some set of variables. It can be your trend line, it can be Fibonacci, any set of variables you feel comfortable with. You can go ahead and pick that set of variable, and then you're gonna systematically test it through backtesting. That's the first set. You're gonna systematically test it through backtesting. Now note the word systematically. You are not in any way trying to win or lose when doing this. You just want to see how this variable work. Yes, if it's a trend line, for example, if you're using a trend line and let's say you decide to be trading a trend line break, when you go on to backtest, you don't actually care if it's gonna go on a win or a loss. You just want to see how it works each time a trend line is broken. When you take the trade, you want to see how it goes, and you want to note the market conditions at which it works best. And for those of you that think backtesting you only need a laptop, no, you can actually backtest with just your phone. Forex trading can be traded with just your phone. So you can backtest with just your phone, and I've done a video concerning that. I'll put it at this screen at the end of this video, or I'll drop the link to it on my description box. Go and watch that video if you want to learn how to backtest on your phone. So now when that is done, like I said, you want to go start backtesting it. It's going to take you like a period of a month or so, depending on how far back you go to do your backtest. And then you want to note and see how the strategy work. What you want to do during this process is you want to understand what market condition fits the strategy. You want to know what is the maximum loss capacity of the strategy, and you want to know the edge in that strategy. Now, edge can be anything. It can be your win rate. It can be your multiple R. Some people think having a low win rate automatically means they are going to be a losing trader. No. If you have a win rate of about 50-50, and then your multiple R is about 1 to 3, at the end of the day, you will still come out profitable. So you need to understand what is it that actually brings the profitability in this strategy. And then the next thing you want to do is you want to understand the best currency pairs, because all strategies have currency pairs they work best with. So I advise normally that if you're doing this, you want to go out and pick like 3 or 4 currency pairs. Don't do it based on one, because if you do it based on one, you may think the strategy is not working. But there is a currency pair out there that the strategy work best with. So you want to pick different currency pairs and do this. This process should take you about 2 to 3 months. And then the moment you're done with this, you've actually tested it and see how the strategy work. If it's something you're good with, you can actually go over to forward testing. And I want to drop a quick one. No strategy is 100% win rate. I don't care what you've been told, but trust me, in this forex market as a whole, no strategy is going to give you 100% win rate. If you have a strategy, like I said earlier, that can deliver 50-50, and you have a 1 to 3 risk to reward, you're going to still come out profitable. You need to start thinking in percentages, not actually in whatever you're seeing, because you can have high win rate and at the end of the day, you will still come out a losing trader. That one aside, let's get back into what we are saying. So now, the moment you are done with the back testing, you want to move over to what I call the forward testing, applying it on a demo account. And then while you're doing this, I advise you apply adequate size, because it's actually changed the way you see the strategy. The same strategy that gives you $5 on a $10 account over a couple of trade, if it's a $10,000 account, is going to give you $5,000. And this is actually going to change the way you see the strategy. Because if you're using a smaller size, you may actually think it's not profitable enough, and you'll be looking for something that will bring in more profits, and at the end of the day you're going to lose everything you have. So I normally advise testing it out with adequate size, and increase the size, and use 20,000, use 200,000, use $200, $100, just so you will see how profitable the strategy is. Because in forex you actually need money to make money. It's not all about you raising from small, or the small account raising it up to hundreds of thousands. No, you actually need money on a consistent level to make money. Now, the moment you're over to your forward testing and you're testing it and it aligns with what your back testing is saying, good, you have finally created a good strategy for yourself. Now, if it doesn't align with what your back testing is saying, you can go ahead to tweak some certain things based on what you have seen from the live market condition. And if it still doesn't suit you, you can go ahead and change it. You can go ahead and try something else. It's not a must that I use that one. But I want you to understand that all this process you're doing, you're actually trying to understand how this stuff work. And if you follow this exact step I just mentioned, you'll discover that during this process, you're going to actually have confidence. It will build your confidence in that particular strategy that you're using. You've tested, and you're applying for testing. It will actually increase your confidence, so that when you move into live market, you won't actually have those little fears of losing or not losing, because you actually understand how and where and under market condition the strategy works best. Now, if this is done, we have to move to the second process. The moment you have understand and back tested, forward tested, and it actually align, you have to move into the second process. And this second process now is the main one. It's called the psychology. Yes, it's called the psychology. So now, trading psychology is actually the trader's mindset. And I want you to understand that trading psychology is actually what makes forex seems difficult, because it's actually what separates the winning trader from the losing trader. I don't know if you're seeing this, but there are a lot of traders out there, real traders who sell courses, and then they have students who actually buy the course. But at the end of the day, the students who bought the course still come out losing money. Why? The mentor has already given him his strategy, his risk management, whatever it is he's using technically to make profit. He has given it to his mentee, but you still see the mentee end up losing money. Why is this? Statistic has also proven that 95% of traders actually lose money. Why do you think this is? Does it actually mean that this 95% of traders don't have a good strategy, or are they doing something that we don't understand? It's not about the strategy, guys. It's about the mindset. Because having a set of strategy and knowing some stuff about technical market doesn't actually make you a trader until you change the way you think. It's your mindset that makes you a forex trader. So now, that being said, after you've backtested your strategy, you actually need to understand from a trader's mindset that forex trading is a probability game, and that means that anything can happen. So you don't need to put and depend on any single trade or individual trades, because putting hope on individual trades will also affect your psychology, your balance, your state of mind. So now, when putting on any trade, you need to understand that anything can happen. If you've actually followed the first step I mentioned earlier about backtesting and forward testing, and you understand your strategy, you should be able to know after a couple of trades, after what amount of trades you are expected to come out profitable. So you need to understand that forex trading is a game of numbers. It's not based on individual trades, it's based on couple of trades. So depending on the strategy you've created or the one you're using, you need to know how many trades you're expecting to see profit. Yes, at the end of what trades, if it's 20, if it's 10, if it's 15, whatever the number is, but you should think in numbers. You don't need to think individually, because the moment you start thinking on individual trade, it's going to counter the way you see trading, and sometimes you risk higher on some particular trade. And of course, forex won't always go the way you want it. And when those trade backfire, you feel so bad, and it may cause you to take an impulsive decision that at the end of the day, you blow the account. So while putting on a trade, I want you to understand that anything can happen. So therefore, you should not depend on individual trades. One thing about forex trading is that you need to be intentional about it, but at the point, if you're still starting, you don't need to depend on it. Because the moment you depend on forex trading, it's gonna make you put a lot of hope in it. And that's not going to do you good, because forex trading, you can never tell which trade is going to work out in forex. And for the ones that did not work out, let's assume that you already risk a lot of money and you were expecting it to go, and that very trade did not go. At the end of the day, you're going to be very, very angry, and you may try revenge trading. And of course, you know what that leads to: blowing of account. So you actually need to understand the trader's mindset, the trader's psychology when it comes to trading, when it comes to forex. You need to understand that every set of variable has a random distribution of wins and losses. So when you begin to see losses in your trading strategy, it's not as if it's not working. You need to understand that it's perfectly normal. It's perfectly normal. It hasn't stopped working. You should at least know the losing streak you're supposed to see why using that particular strategy. Because when you do, at the end of the day, you already know what amount of losses you're actually expecting. Let's assume maybe 5 losses in a row, or 7 losses in a row, but you already know what you are expecting from that strategy. Because trust me, most of the time the problem is not external, it's internal. And we'll just keep looking for the results external. And if you just keep looking for it external, trust me, you won't find it until you change the way you think. Batista said, and I quote, the thinking that has brought us this far has also created some problem that this thinking cannot solve. So you actually need to change the way you think, because what we actually see now by influencers or the so-called mentors is not actually what trading is. So what they are selling out there is not what trading is. And if you come in with that mindset, I'm afraid you're going to get affected or end up quitting at the game of trading. So that being said, once you start applying these principles, let me go over it again. You first of all pick up any set of variable and you do a systematic test through back testing, and then you move over to forward testing. And mind you, always remember to test it with adequate size. Then this adequate size testing of a thing actually improves your psychology. It improves the way you see that particular strategy. It changes your way of seeing it. Now, the moment you've done your forward testing and it actually aligns with what you have back tested, you need to move on to live. But before moving to live, you need to understand what forex trading is all about. You need to understand that anything can happen. So don't put hope on individual trades. I need to understand that for every given set of strategy, there is a random distribution of wins and losses. So when you start taking your loss, don't feel bad. Don't feel as if your strategy is not working. It's perfectly normal. Consistent, profitable traders don't actually, it's not as if they don't see these losses. They see the losses, but at the end of the day, they come out profitable. Why? This mindset I'm giving to you guys is actually what makes them profitable. Because consistent profitability is not as if you won't see these losses. It's not as if you will not see the hurdles that other traders see. No. But it's the way you react to those stuff that actually make you consistently profitable. Now, the moment you have actually upgraded your mind to actually start thinking this way, those losses come, you understand that it's perfectly normal. And when putting on trade, you actually know that this trade is unique. So anything can happen. And whatever it is that happen, you don't really care. You only care about a couple of trades. This is going to change the way you trade. This is going to improve your profitability. And trust me, you're going to see a lot of results if you actually follow this step I've just explained to you guys. Now, I would recommend you go and watch this video. I don't know if it's going to come out now, but I recommend you go and watch this video to understand how to backtest with just your smartphone. And then if you've not subscribed, kindly click that subscribe button now, turn on the notification, and like this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and I'll catch you on the next one.